Look, my whole view with racism and white supremacy has always been I see it as weak and pathetic, actually. It's a little bit like when you was at school. Remember? For example, you reject a certain girl, and then moments later, there's a rumor going around saying that she's rejected you. Mind you, you have not even said a word. Now, for the last 100 years or more or so, white supremacy has been going around the world telling people, sometimes, saying that we're not even human. Yeah. And we haven't even said a word. But then, there's this kid Speed. Wow, how about that? He is showing our story only as he could show it. He is telling our story only as he could tell it. What I saw yesterday in my country. I said, Speed, that was blessed, yo. Oh, hello, beautiful people. My name is Alula, and welcome to Awaken the Eagle. Actually, this is an important video. Guys, today I want to talk about racism, and most importantly, how to deal with racism after you awaken. Now, when you awaken, just because you awaken, it does not mean that racism will go away. But the way you deal with racism will completely change. Now, as you elevate in your consciousness, as you progress in your spiritual growth, guys, the obvious thing that you're gonna notice about this matrix, it's built on exploitation. I should charge this matrix with crime against humanity. Should we put them on a trial? Let's do that in this video. Whether it's male to female relationship, the matrix has sabotaged it. Whether it's like the way you make your living, the matrix is looking to make you a slave. Yeah, the only way, guys, in this matrix or the world or Babylon can thrive, function, and do what it can do, guys, is when it exploits you. And most importantly, when it causes division. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you go through your spiritual awakening, guys, like I said in many of my videos, all these programs of this matrix, yeah, the way I see the matrix is like many programs, negative ones, like negative frequency, that support the whole system. You know what I'm saying? Now for this segment, guys, I'm gonna speak on racism. Now racism or white supremacy, I would even say It's the third most important weapon for the people who live at a low energy. You know what I'm saying? Especially for people of color. Now, even though everybody, guys, has their own issues, the people of color have racism to deal with. Now, in this video, guys, I'm gonna share with you how to see this negative frequency really. You know what I'm saying? Once you understand it, you see it as pathetic, weak, narcissists, all the negative things, you know, that I mentioned and more. You know what I mean? Now, the only way racism can work on you is A, when you don't know yourself, and B, when you hold a lot of trauma. That's why, guys, a spiritual awakening is so effective, because spiritual awakening deals with your trauma. Guys, once you go through your healing, you're gonna see all these programs just bounce off you. Guys, these programs are not able to penetrate your consciousness. Especially, guys, as black people, we are people, guys, that have a lot of trauma that's been inflicted on us. You know, look at that George Floyd situation. It's like a murder of one man caused the whole uprising. Although it was injustice, you know, that person that did that should be dealt with, yes, but it should not trigger a whole people like that. That says, guys, if you are triggered by racism, one of the things to think about is that it reveals a little bit about you. And secondly, guys, is the knowledge of self. Oh yeah, guys, let me talk about this kid Speed, really. He's on an African tour, if you ask me. I did watch some of his clips, man. He's doing amazing job. He is a fantastic person, seriously speaking. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was never into that kind of thing, I had become a fan that night. It was last night, actually. Yeah, he was in Ethiopia. Now, the first thing that stood out to me was that he looked so comfortable with himself. You know what I'm saying? Everybody around looked like him, and most importantly, people accepted him completely. Now, when he arrived at my Ethiopia, yeah, the man said, "Oh, look at that Speed," and his Speed just casually says, "Hey, what is that?" Has like, that is a symbol of African supremacy. He goes on to tell Speed, yeah, other countries, other African countries celebrate independence, but Speed over here, we celebrate victory. And Speed looked at the guy and said, "I never knew that." And it's like the guy is saying, "Okay, now you know that." You know what I'm saying? And he goes to the next place, and the guy says the same thing to him again. It's like, "Hey, Speed, over here, we do not celebrate independence. We celebrate victory." And the guy that's next to Speed says, "Oh, we already heard that." You see what I'm saying, guys? That is racism on the low. You know what I mean? He's like saying, oh yeah, that's not that important. Excuse me, my brother, we're gonna tell it. Maybe we'll tell it like a million times. We're not only telling that the speed, but we're telling that to millions and millions of boys and girls around the world so that they know who they are. I mean, who are you anyway? Aren't you supposed to be in the office or something? I'll tell you what, even that, your days are numbered. Anyway, before I get carried away, let's get down to the points. Now, how to deal with racism after you awaken. The first one, guys, is simple. You just dismiss it. Dismissed. You're free to go. That kind of thing. But in order for you to do this, guys, like I said, you have to make sure that it does not trigger you. That's why, guys, knowledge of self is so important in life, in everything that you do, not just in racism, in your work, in your relationship, in everything that you do. If you have a knowledge of self, guys, understand the game is won. Now, the thing about this white supremacy system, have you noticed like how they keep making these like slavery videos about us? Don't think that's a small thing. That is planting a certain narrative in your mind. Yeah, you see this thing about like racism or whatever. It's not that much of an issue if other people are kind of racist and they see you like that. But it becomes a big deal when you begin to see yourself as that itself. And this has been our number one issue. But when you have a knowledge of self, guys, that kind of thing is no more. That's why I'm saying that speed visit to Ethiopia is so important to our black boys and girls around the world, so they know that they are from royalty, not slavery. Now, the answer you shall have for that kind of thing, guys, and let me tell you something. When you have a knowledge of self, you can put any scandal to rest with just one statement. When they show you a slavery movie, just say, my ancestors are the fathers and fathers of everybody on this planet. That's my story. Yeah. All right, let's move on. You know what I'm saying? To the next point. How do you deal with racism after you're awakened? Guys, you deal with racism by, I guess, showing that you're better to yourself and also to the people who look like you. Man, that's why I really admired the 44th President of the United States, really. Not so much of what he's done, although he's done some important things, about like the fact that he's shown like other black people it's possible. Actually, there is like a photo that stands out to me when he was president, like in 2012, that this black kid that came to the White House, you know what I'm saying? And the president bent down like this so that the kid could touch his hair. Man, that was so important, I thought. Now this kid knows that the President of the United States just has a hair like him. Yeah. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Let me drink this water.